To achieve a reclamation certificate, Terra-Sano adheres to the site process steps required by the Alberta Energy Regulator. At Terra-Sano, each step of the reclamation certificate process is completed by our in-house staff and equipment. But what steps are required in this process? During Phase 1 of a reclamation project, we determine potential contamination risks on site based on a detailed file review. If the site had production or production equipment, it needs to be assessed, as there is potential for contamination. However, based on the file review, it is determined if the site passes the compliance option calculations. Sites that had no production can still require additional site assessments for the drilling waste disposal area during additional phases. Following Phase 1, we move to the decommissioning phase. Here we remove all surface equipment from site, including wellhead, during cut and cap operations. Moving on to Phase 2 as an extension of what is determined during the first phase of the reclamation project. In this phase, we review all areas of potential contamination and contaminants of concern are addressed. It is during Phase 2 that we determine if remediation is required. If contamination is present and remediation is required, we move to this step adhering safe practices in accordance with what type of contamination is found. Once completed, we can begin the reclamation stage of the project. Here, we remove all well pads, gravel, access roads, and approaches. We then repair contouring, drainage, soils and vegetation to match conditions found off-site. We then perform a detailed site assessment. This process evaluates vegetation, soil and landscape on site against the off-site conditions. If all site parameters are comparable, the site is granted a pass, and the next step is to apply for a reclamation certificate. In this final step, we compile all the site process steps into a detailed document to present to the landowner and to the Alberta Energy Regulator. If the Alberta Energy Regulator determines that all regulations have been met, the site is granted a reclamation certificate. With Terra-Sano's unique approach, this process is streamlined and can be completed within an optimal time frame. Find out more about Terra-Sano and our unique approach on our website.